Long before the world learned to hurry, there was a valley cradled by mountains so tall they seemed asleep against the sky. At the edge of this valley lived a girl named Arin. She was small for her age, quiet in her ways, and known for wandering where others would not. While the village woke to roosters and bells, Arin woke to something else entirely. She woke to whispers. They came from the mountains. Not voices as people knew them, but deep, patient murmurs that traveled through stone and wind. When Arin pressed her palm to the ground, the earth seemed to breathe back. When she listened closely, the mountains spoke of time, of wait, of promises made long ago. The villagers said Arin had too much imagination. They smiled kindly and sent her home whenever she tried to warn them. But the mountains did not smile. One morning, as sunlight spilled across the valley, the whispers changed. They were no longer slow and steady. They trembled. "The balance is breaking," the mountains murmured. "The promise is being forgotten." Arin felt the ground shudder beneath her feet, just slightly, like a sleeper turning in a dream. She ran to the village square, heart pounding, and told them what she had heard. She spoke of cracks deep within the stone, of slopes growing restless, of a great shifting yet to come. The elders listened, then shook their heads. The mountains had stood for centuries, they said. They would stand for centuries more. Arin was sent away with gentle laughter trailing behind her. That night, the whispers grew louder. The mountains showed her visions of a time long past, when the valley's founders had sworn to care for the land, to never take more than they gave. In return, the mountains had agreed to rest, holding the valley safe in their stone embrace. But the village had grown. Trees had been stripped from the slopes. Quarries had bitten deep into the rock. The promise had faded into memory. "The weight is too great," the mountains said. "We cannot sleep much longer." Arin knew then that the mountains were not angry, they were afraid. Before dawn, she packed what little she had and began to climb. The path was steep and unforgiving, and with every step, the ground quivered more strongly. Loose stones tumbled past her, and the wind howled as if urging her to turn back. But Arin climbed on. When she reached a narrow ledge high above the valley, the whispers became a roar. The mountains spoke not in warnings now, but in sorrow. "We are bound by the promise," they said, "but promises break when forgotten." Arin knelt and pressed her hands to the stone, tears slipping down her cheeks. She did not beg the mountains to stay still. She did not ask them to endure more pain. Instead, she made a promise of her own. She promised to remind the valley of what it had forgotten. She promised to help heal the wounds carved into the mountain sides, and if the village would not listen to her words, she would show them with her actions. The mountains grew quiet. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then gently, the trembling eased. At dawn, the villagers awoke to find Arin standing in the square, dust-covered and exhausted. Before they could speak, the ground beneath them shook, not violently, but enough to steal their breath. High above, a massive stone cracked free from the mountainside and stopped, impossibly held in place as if the mountain itself had paused mid-breath. The villagers watched in silence as the earth waited. They finally listened. Together they followed Arin's guidance. They replanted trees along the slopes. They sealed the quarries and carried stone back to where it belonged. They rebuilt the old markers of the promise their ancestors had made. With every act of care, the mountains settled. The cracks sealed. The winds softened. The great stone above the valley slowly returned to rest. Years passed, and the valley flourished, not larger, but wiser. The villagers taught their children to listen, not just to voices, but to the world beneath their feet. As for Arin, she never claimed credit. She simply walked the mountain paths, listening when the earth had something to say. And the mountains slept again, not because they were forced to, but because they were finally at peace. In the quiet of the valley, if one listens closely enough, the whispers can still be heard. Not warnings, but gratitude.